Episode of Networking at Noon. Tiffanie Kellog, your hostess here. Super excited to be doing a little bit of networking today. And I'm joined by Mr. Nationwide himself, Matt Wilkerson. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Matt.
Hey, I am glad to be here. Thank you for the invite.
So, Matt, I've known, gosh, how long have I known you, Matt? Is it going on a decade now, maybe?
Probably so. Almost when I had a little bit of hair. I mean, just almost.
Did you have hair back then? I don't know if I remember you ever having hair.
No, probably not. But yeah, I would say at least 10 years you've known me.
All right. So Matt Wilkerson is with a company that you're probably familiar with, Verizon, though he does things a little bit different. So I was wondering to start off, Matt, can you tell us why I'm calling you Mr. Nationwide?
Absolutely. So just to give them a brief history, I was involved with store ownership with Verizon for 12 years. I own my own brick and mortar and received an offer and sold the store itself. But I'm contracted with Verizon now to do delivery only. And with Verizon being a nationwide company, it makes my borders, from Hawaii to New York to Alaska. And with the online portal, with being the Verizon Wireless website, sometimes people have difficulty reaching them, getting a hold of somebody on a toll-free number. I started delivering. I started shipping to friends and family throughout the country and thought, wait a second, I can do this just as much as the big box. They can get a hold of me in a phone call without being on hold for 30 minutes. And a year and a half later, it's a huge success.
Yeah, I know, because I'm not in your local area. I'm close, but I'm not in your local area. I'm here in Tampa. What is your local area?
Okay, Ocala, about 70 miles west of Daytona Beach.
Gotcha. Somebody the other day was like, I'm between Ocala and Gainesville, and I'm like, I don't know that most people would know where that is.
Yes, but they do know where Daytona is usually.
Yes. And what's Ocala known for?
Horses, big time.
Yeah, I had no idea it was such a huge horse community up there.
And the number one chamber in the United States of America.
Really?
Yes, we won Chamber of the Year.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Well, I'll have to. Joe is actually my guest for next week. So Joe with the Ocala CEP. Yeah.
Oh, man.
So for those of you watching, join us next week. I did not know the Ocala CEP was number one in the nation. So super excited to be chatting with him about that next week.
Yes, Joe's awesome.
Speaking of networking, because I mean, that's not really networking, but it's kind of networking. You like to network, don't you?
Yes, I do. There's nothing like face-to-face
interaction. We're networking at noon, the show. So tell us what you like about networking, tips for networkers. Give us a little bit of your networking stuff.
Well, I mean, what I have learned throughout the years from several people in organizations that I've been involved with, it's all about doing business with people that you know, like, and trust. And when you get in front of somebody and you network with them, you build a relationship. Sure, I can send out a pamphlet, I can send out a flyer, I can send out something on an email, whatever. But there's nothing like a handshake, or I call it a neck hug, whatever it may be. You get to know somebody personally. You can line 20 of me up on the wall, and we all are the same. We can all do the same stuff. But when you get to know me personally, it makes a difference, and that's where networking comes into play. It's huge.
Yeah, it's funny. Sometimes people will say, hey, Tiffanie, what phone service do you have? And I'm like, Verizon. They're like, do you like it? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, what do you like about it? And I'm like, well, anytime I have an issue with this lovely smart device, I can just text Matt or call Matt and say, hey, Matt, here's what's going on. Help.
Yes. Toll-free numbers will put you on hold for 15 minutes, and that's frustrating for anybody where they can text me personally and get instant reaction.
Yeah, so I'm going to throw Matt's number up here. So if you're thinking I'm in the need of a new smart device, a new phone, a new iPad, and I'll actually ask him in a minute to tell us a couple things that he does that maybe we aren't thinking of with Verizon Wireless. But I love it. I'm just able to text and say, hey, Tiffanie here, this is my issue. And it makes life so much easier than I hate calling places. Oh, I detest it. And, some places nowadays you can go online and chat with the bot, but I'm like, I can just text Matt. Makes it so much easier, and you can ship. And I mean, nowadays, like the other day, I was like, I could go to the store. I could just order this online. But anytime I can use somebody that we actually know versus just the online, it's much better.
Yes, you can get answers. I can help you set things up. Besides, if it comes online, there's a piece of paper in the box saying, here's how you set it up. Good luck, where I can help you personally.
Gotcha. So tell us a little bit about the different products and services that you offer.
Okay, so with Verizon, naturally cell phones, both on the Android side and the Apple side. Believe it or not, we still have flip phones for the older people that just want to use flip phones. I know. And Verizon is not known for this because they're known for smartphones, but I'm very heavily involved with the assisted living facilities with my home phone service. And people say, wait a second, home phone? I don't need a cell phone in the home. No, it's actually a phone that you plug into the back of my product, and you get a phone like the elderly are accustomed to using every day. Internet devices for you to have internet on the road, tablets, of course, just a wide variety. Verizon has Fios, not in my area, but they have Verizon TV. I wish I could get it here, but those are some of the products and services.
So people can just call and text you if they want more information.
Absolutely.
All right. So we've talked a little bit about work. Tell me a little bit about play. You know, all work and no play makes Tiffanie a dull girl, and I think that should be true for most of us. So when you're not working, what do you enjoy doing in your free time?
Okay, so you know, and some of the people that might be watching know that I have just built a new home. I have went from a regular residential neighborhood where everybody's on top of you to I had to go buy a zero turn and a tractor, and I've got a little small farm. So believe it or not, during the day, this is crazy. I'm working thinking, do I have enough carrots and apples for the goats and cows next door? This is crazy. It's taken over. But spending time with family, boating. We are going on our first cruise since COVID, Valentine's week of next year.
Oh,
We're
cool.
counting that down on the Carnival Mardi Gras. But just time with friends and family. I have a Harley, so we like to ride with family on the motorcycles when it's not raining.
Yeah, well, and actually, you've taken me on my first and only motorcycle ride.
Yes, I did. Oh, that was awesome too.
Yeah.
Yep. But that there's basically it. Just spending time with family. A lot of time on the front porch now because we have the old huge front porch. So that working in my building, believe it or not, on the side, which is not part of what I do here, but I also do game processing. And I'm setting up a big metal building in the back of my property with that. But that's
what that big metal building's for.
Well, part of it, because hunting season is huge, and of course I retired from Winn-Dixie, and I know how to do that kind of stuff. So that's what I do on the side, but I don't really network about that.
It does make a difference if your meat's processed right or not. Like
Yes,
you can't just hack it off. I mean, you can just hack it off and eat it, but it's not recommended.
No. If you do not tenderize it right, if you do not grind it right, if you don't season it right, yes, you can mess it up.
Is there a lot of hunting in this part of Florida or in your part of Florida?
Yes. All I got to do is get a hold of one person and treat them right, and they'll tell the whole hunting camp. And all of a sudden, from September to February, it's big, very big.
What kind of game typically?
Well, typically deer. We do pigs as well. We had a guy come in last year who tried to slip in a large deer, he said, but it turned out it was a buffalo. And so buffalo, moose,
how would he think a deer and a buffalo would be even close to being the same?
Well, once it's skinned, you can't see hide or anything, but the size of the hams, I said, there is no way this is a deer.
Well, and they're built totally different.
Yes, they are. It is an enormous animal.
Yeah. Wow. Gotcha. Oh, something new. I didn't think I knew that's what that metal building was for, or partly for.
Part of it. Well, it's also to store my toys. I have a side-by-side, and my Harley and stuff goes in there. So I tell my wife it's necessary.
I totally get you. I'd much rather it be out of the house than encroaching.
But it also has a pool table now, so it's necessary.
Now, does the wife ever come out to the man cave, or is it kind of just your own area?
Now that I'm getting some air conditioner units put in it, she will. Otherwise, no, it's a little too warm out there.
Gotcha. So we've talked a little bit about work. We've talked a little bit about fun. Now, our Networking at Noon is sponsored and hosted by Asentiv Tampa, and I know that you're a client of Asentiv Tampa. And so I was wondering if you could share with the viewers out there, what Asentiv has helped you create.
Oh my gosh, we only have 30 minutes, right? So
Yeah, yeah, we're not going to go
okay.
that long.
So just to concentrate on maybe one or two, I can tell you right now, whenever I first went into business, just like I told you many years ago, I had a chip on my shoulder. I said, listen, I know my products and services. I'm confident in me. You don't need to tell me how to network. Just get out of my way and let me introduce myself to a few people. Well, I learned after taking Certified Networker, which now, of course, has been renamed Ignite Your Business. What I was doing is I was using what I call a shotgun approach. I was just saying, hey, anybody that needs to buy a phone, just please come by through me, and hoping that a bird falls out of the sky. Well, I put the shotgun away and I started using a rifle based on the class. I think the first one really opened my eyes. I took it twice. And I encourage people to take it more than once. But the first time, it really focused what I was supposed to be going after. I was focusing on contact spheres, or I learned to focus on contact spheres and those that would really benefit me, and I could benefit them as well. And there were certain industries like home health nurses and the assisted living. I had no idea I was supposed to. Why does a cell phone guy go after an old folks home? What? All of a sudden, it's almost my number one client every month, because they call me regularly saying room 204 needs a phone. New room 112 needs a phone. There was business right in front of me, and until I took that class, I was walking right past it.
Gotcha. So, well, we're glad you're not walking past that business anymore, no. Matt.
Yes. Yes.
So we're here with our Networking at Noon, talking to Matt Wilkerson, Mr. Nationwide. What else do you think makes working with you better than just calling an 800 number or going online when it comes time to getting our smart devices taken care of, or even walking into the store up the street from us?
Well, I can tell you, many of the stores, they work on commission only. And I'll be honest with you, they would sell you a ballpoint pen if they could, because it boils down to money. And yes, I get paid, commissions for my sales too, but I am in the stage of my life where I have sold my store. I have focused on key clients. I'm going to give you an honest answer. If you don't need a new phone, I'm not going to try to sell you a new phone, because I have learned over the years, if one person goes out and talks bad about me because of a dishonest sales approach, it could ruin it for 10 to 15 clients down the road. So honesty, number one. And number two, just like we talked about before, people cannot stand to get on a phone and say, hold please, and hear the music. You can text me, I will call you right back. There's no interruptions, there's no background noise. It's, what do you need? And it's personalization. That's what makes me different.
Cool. Awesome. So appreciate you sharing that. I've got two more questions for you. The first being, what's one tip that you want to share with the people out there? This could be related to networking. This could be related to using your phones. It could be anything in life in general. What's one tip that you have for people?
Does it have to be one?
Two?
Okay, two quick ones.
Okay,
number one, on your cell phone, don't charge your cell phone overnight. It's the worst thing you can do for your cell phone battery. Just saying.
Tell us why that is.
Okay, because your phone obviously will never show 101% charge. We get that, but it will stay connected. Oh, I have a charger that stops charging when it's full. Yes, but there's current going to your battery, and it's warm, and it depletes the battery. Me and my sister-in-law both bought a phone at the same time, and after 6 months, we revisited. My battery health was 97%. Hers was in the upper 70s.
Oh, wow.
So because she charges her phone all the time. Don't charge your phone overnight. Number one. Quick tip number two. I learned this also part of Asentiv, and look, a lot of this from you too. Whenever I go to a networking event, I thought just showing up and being loud and proud and shaking hands and passing business cards was great. Now I simply go to an event that could possibly be 2 to 3 hours long. If I'm there for 45 minutes to an hour and I come in with 2 names, some people have a larger list. I have a goal of 2 names, and I say, hey, I want to meet Johnny whoever or Susie whoever of these 2 companies. If I can make one of these connections, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. I'm not going to go into a networking event and get 50 clients. That's not my goal. I'm one person. But I go in and say, if I can meet one of these 2 persons and begin to build a relationship, it will make a big difference in my business. And I know those individuals that will impact my business more than anybody else. So I have that in my mind. I go in and I get introduced to them, like Geotech up here in Ocala. I landed that account and they have 64 phones on their account. One handshake gets me regular phone calls. So go into a networking event with a plan and a couple names you want to meet, rather than going in just passing out business cards and saying, well, I was there. Isn't that enough? No, it's not enough. You got to have a plan.
Gotcha. Cool. Awesome. Appreciate and love both of those tips, Matt. My last question for you is going to be, what is your favorite brew?
What is my favorite brew? Okay, so now you've known me for years. You know I don't drink, but hey, it's technically brewed. So on my new front porch in my house, I like to sip iced tea. Tea has to be brewed, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is my favorite brew. Iced tea, swinging on the front porch, on my brand new porch. And
now,
you're
do
welcome
you do
anytime.
do you do like flavored tea, or is it just regular old tea?
Let me tell you something. It is regular sweet tea that will curl your hair.
Probably Rob loves, like, when he makes tea, I'm like, you're putting how much sugar in your tea?
Yes.
Oh my God.
You two are welcome on my front porch anytime.
We appreciate it. We'll be coming up and seeing you sometime soon. I know he loves all that game and stuff, so I'm sure he would enjoy that.
Hey, maybe we can process a deer together.
That would be. I love it when he goes hunting, because I'm like, honey, please go hunting and bring me some fresh meat, because I always love to have that fresh meat there in the freezer.
Awesome.
Cool.
Awesome.
Well, again, so we've got Matt Wilkerson, Mr. Nationwide here. His number is up here on the screen. You can call or text him, and he can help you out with your cell phone needs. Matt, thank you so much for being here with us today for our networking at noon. And as I mentioned, next week we'll have Joe Reichel from the Ocala CEP, the Ocala Chamber, with us as we talk a little networking at noon.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Matt. Happy networking, y'all.